And the kicker is, and then Jesse Eisenberg, Poland granted him EU citizenship, and I've been trying to get dual citizenship since Trump got in the White House in 2016. I've been trying to find my escape country. So I was like, I could have walked away with an EU passport and an Oscar. Oh, yeah. Woo, 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 woo. What's up, y'all? All right.
Welcome, everyone, to Good One Live at South by Southwest. I am Jesse David Fox, senior writer at Vulture and author of Comedy Book. My guest is Eric André, comedian, actor,
sex symbol
host.
Aries.
So, as we like to start, what is the funniest or strangest thing that's happened to you this week?
This week specifically, so 2 weeks ago, I got a vasectomy.
Congrats.
And, thank you. And then for me, that's like having a baby. I have like pictures of it. You know, when like someone gets pregnant, they send you the what's it called? The sonogram or whatever. Like, oh, it's gonna be a girl. I was like showing pictures of my Vas Deferon snips. I was like, I made it to the finish line. So anyway, I got a vasectomy a couple weeks ago, and then I went to 9 Inch Nails a couple nights ago, and John Waters was like right next to me before I went in, and I love John Waters so much that I started jumping up and down and giggling before I went over and talked to him. But you're not supposed to like jump or run after you get a vasectomy, so my balls felt like a pair of maracas the entire 9 Inch Nails show. I put my balls in tremendous pain.
How are they now? Are they okay now?
What's that?
Are they okay now?
They're all right.
Okay. You know. I didn't want everyone to be worried about your balls the entire panel.
They're better than they were a couple nights ago.
Good.
Yeah.
So you've been coming to South by Southwest periodically for a while now.
Maybe 20 years.
Yeah. What do you make of it first, and how do you feel about how it has changed over the last few years to sort of be more tech-centered?
I wish I saw it in its Gen 1 phase. I didn't experience it in the 90s, right? When did it start? How old is it?
87.
87. Was it just like Steve Albini, arms folded in the middle of the fucking Congress? Like, was it like really humble beginning? Nobody knows that reference. Was it just like Husker Du and like a couple indie bands like scrapping
in my head that is what it was.
That I didn't. I wish I saw it in that like Gen 1 phase. But that
was like the blog era. So it's like 20 years ago. It's like when there's like all the music blogs were like putting on panels and stuff. Not panels, but like parties.
I'm not a historian. I couldn't tell you how much it really changed. But all festivals kind of have the same trajectory where they start out punk rock and, creative and artistic, and then they become popular, and then corporations want to bukkake all over them. That's how life is. That's life.
I didn't want to deprive people and have this panel not also be partly about AI. So I was curious, what are your feelings and thoughts about?
So is every panel an AI question?
The sense I have is that is the case.
Do people have AI fatigue? Let's talk about it then.
Well, I imagine your take on it might be different than everyone else talking about how it will fix X industry.
It's such a broad topic, and it's so triggering for people. I think, it depends on what are you talking about. Are you talking about like truck drivers losing their jobs, or are you just talking about like a program that's easier to use than After Effects to animate graphics? Are you taking jobs away, people, or are we all using it collectively to make our jobs and our lives easier and hopefully get a 4-day work week and not a 5-day work week? So it has the potential for good, but a lot of the billionaires behind it are evil psychopaths that apparently eat children. So I'm not so crazy about that part of the whole demonic, evil, sociopathic part of it. That's troubling.
Yeah, I think that is
troubling.
You were in that movie, The Internship, 13 years ago. That was about working at Google.
Sure was.
Did you meet Google employees then?
No, I think the director didn't like me that much, and it was a little softball. It was just like, hey, man, Google's cool. It wasn't like, hey, man, Google's spying on you. You know what I mean? It was a bit of like a propaganda movie. I like some propaganda movies. Soy Cuba, that's a cool propaganda movie. You ever seen that shit?
I have not.
Oh, yeah, that's cool, man.
What's it about?
Apparently, when the revolution happened in Cuba, like a couple years after Russia sent a bunch of Soviet filmmakers to Cuba to film this like propaganda piece about like how like awesome Cuba is and how much better it is with Castro, and now it's like better because it's communist, but they send these really amazing Soviet filmmakers over there, and they did shots in that movie that were never replicated in any other movie. They had like these weird contraptions where they would put the camera on a wire essentially and have it like move through the crowd. And this is like before steady cams, techno jibs, you know, like this is really like, I want to say 1960, you know, and they would just have all these cool, it's real cinephile nerd shit. I don't know. You just have to watch the movie. I'm not going to do any justice.
And we'll play it right.
Yeah, play
it right there.
Pull up the clip.
So you'll be doing a live episode of your podcast, Bombing, here at South by Southwest.
You coming?
When is it? I
don't know.
Yeah, I feel like I might be out.
Cop? You got to tell me if you're a cop or it's entrapment, dude.
So the podcast used to be you and one person just talking about bombing, but recently changed to you and a sort of grouping.
I thought that fizzled out. The first gen version of it seemed kind of boring after a while. I was like, I need to motivate myself to come to work, so why don't I have like a bunch of my friends? Now it's like too many people, and I kind of like it.
Yeah, now it's like everyone's interrupting each other. Yeah. And if someone's cooking, and then a dominatrix might walk in.
You're correct. I just like brought it back to my basics, you know. Put a little more chaos in it, because the premise of just asking a comic about their worst gig, I think that like that fills it up. That kicked it off, but it's evolved and devolved since. About
bombing, you said failure is the greatest teacher. What does that mean to you?
Failure's the mother of success. Failure is the greatest teacher. There's no better way to learn a lesson in what not to do and be traumatized by the failure so that you never, ever, hopefully never repeat it again.
Can you think of a failure that you particularly learned from? Can you think of an example?
All of them. I think like that Google movie you mentioned. The first 10 years of my resume, 2 broke girls and all that fucking stupid shit I did. You just doing horrible jokes. I'm like, to bring up John Waters again, John Waters has a quote in his book Shock Value where he says there's good bad taste and there's bad taste. And that is like that's like my mantra. So I try to be shocking and offensive with love. Thank you, one dude.
It did seem like he was hoping everyone would start clapping along.
But nobody did. Nobody gave a shit.
Do you feel like you are still figuring out, or you for a while were figuring out where the line was between the good and bad?
I am every time. Anytime I make any joke, you know, you're always figuring it out. And the line is always moving and changing with the wind.
Can you think of an example where you felt either a joke or a prank or something where you're like, this is exactly my line at this time, or this is exactly what I hope?
It's not mathematical, and like being offended is in the eye of the beholder. So, and also people use being offended by like trying to have some moral leverage over you, but just because you're offended doesn't mean you're in the right. There's people that are offended by gay marriage, and there's people that are offended by interracial marriage. And if my parents listened to those people, I wouldn't exist. Maybe for the better. The fucking world sucks right now. Maybe I do agree with those people. But just because you're offended doesn't mean you're right. So I don't know, and it's up to the, you know, it's a subjective personal call. But you know, I think it comes down to intention. Karma is defined by intention. You know, intention of your actions. So if a Buddhist monk is walking across the grass and steps on a bug and kills it, just because they're walking across, that's not a negative karmic charge. But if a Buddhist monk, it doesn't even have to be a Buddhist, but anybody. Sure. Anybody, I learned that from a Buddhist nun. If somebody goes up to the bug and kills the bug, in the eyes of a Buddhist, that's a negative karmic charge. So, what were we talking about?
I believe that was your metaphor for one's attempt to do good, bad taste.
I'm on like 4 Dramamine right now, brother. So I don't barf on stage.
Did we put a bucket out?
Shaw's fucking palace. Where are we?
Do you have a favorite time you...
Did Trump decorate just the ceiling? Remember when his wife fell down the stairs? Nobody investigated that? My ex-wife fell down the stairs. There's an entire documentary called Staircase where the guy was like, oh, my wife fell down the stairs. Like, you killed the shit out of your wife, dog. Like, she didn't fall down the stairs. She fell down the stairs like Bugs Bunny, like, whoa, 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 whoa. You know how hard it is to die by falling down the stairs? Like, kind of fucking MC Escher house to live in that your stairs are like, yeah. What I'm trying to say is the president murdered his ex-wife.
Do you have a favorite time you bombed?
Allegedly.
Sorry, yes.
Allegedly. He's probably not a violent person. Show me proof that he has a record of violence against women and children. We live in hell. Okay. I thought he was going to make my eggs cheaper. Derp. And he's eating kids like corn on the cob. Gosh. We're fucking doomed, man. We're doomed. It's fucking so bleak. But as long as I'm making a cheap-ass omelet, I'm in. Sorry, I'm getting off track here.
No, it's fine.
You know when that Dramamine hits, dude, you're just flying, brother.
Do you have a favorite time you bombed?
A favorite type of bond?
A favorite time you bombed?
Oh gosh, how much time do you got? I mean,
46 minutes.
46 minutes. Okay, great, perfect. You know, I opened up for Chris Rock one time in New Orleans, and his crowd doesn't want what I'm selling. You know what I mean? Like, imagine you go to see Usher in concert, and then like a shitty punk band opens up for him. You'd be like, what the fuck is going on here? That's what it was like opening up for Chris. I would always like kind of do mediocre and hold my ground, but like one night I just like, I don't know, I was phoning it in or something, and this guy from the back went, next! And I'm used to doing like podunk chicken shit bar shows, so I was like, this is like a huge, whatever, amphitheater. So I was like, why'd you come up here and say to my face, motherfucker? Like a scene from Roadhouse or something. And Hannibal was on the side of the stage. He was like, no, what are you doing? Don't do that. And God, I just like imploded into myself. And this dude in the front row, as I'm telling my last joke that's like horrendous, I'm getting nowhere. This guy in the front row looked at me, he goes, "Come on, you're better than that, Eric." Which is like a anti-heckle. It was like motivational. And I don't know, I just grew up on Chris Rock. He's my hero. So he was so sweet afterwards. He was like, "Oh, yeah." And he gave me a big hug. And he's like, "No, bombing is awesome. It's part of life." And he goes, "Ask me what happened when Prince opened up for the Rolling Stones for the first time." I go, "What happened?" He goes, "People were booing him and throwing bottles at him." And then his tour manager, who used to tour manage James Brown and all these famous musicians, he was like, "Oh yeah, when we were," he's like an old jazz cat kind of guy. He was like, "When we were touring London, Chris bombed, like that was like the first night of the tour." And he was so frustrated in the middle of the dinner, he got back up and went back to the club and asked the club to reopen, and he had to do a set again just so he couldn't freak out the crew and bomb the very first night of tour. So it's part of life.
Yeah, I feel like if any comedian, Chris famously bombs a lot.
Does he bomb a lot?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. There's a famous story of Martin Lawrence opening for him. Have you heard this story?
No.
This was after Chris was on Saturday Night Live. And so he was able to draw, but he wasn't really doing that much stand-up. And he was doing a show in Chicago, and he was in the green room. And Martin Lawrence was opening for him. He was in the green room. And he just heard a loud noise, and he thought a fight had broken out, so he went to go see. And it was just Martin Lawrence crushing harder than he realized a comedian can crush.
Whoa.
And then he goes on. He goes, "All right, well, I'll show you. I'm famous." And he bombs the entire time. He opens with his closer, and that inspired him to do Bring the Pain. He goes, "I need to get better." He then like started going to clubs and blah blah.
Interesting. Yeah. That makes sense. Yeah.
Do you ever go into situations hoping it goes wrong?
No. What am I?
Well, not just. Well, like you can. I guess the version of it's like, let's say you're going out on the street to do a field piece. You want not to go exactly as planned. You want chaos, or maybe not.
Well, chaos. Mining for chaos and anarchy is not bombing. That's the desired result. Mm-hmm. So, the person I'm pranking, they might feel, something to the equivalent emotionally of bombing. But I'm like a truffle pig, mining and sniffing around for the deepest, dankest prank in the street.
And that is wrong. It's not wrong as one would think of it. It is. There's no right or wrong. It is just sort of the.
I would say a prank that bombs on the street is just like the person didn't have a good reaction, like their reaction was kind of bland, or they figured out it was a prank. They're like, "Oh, this is bullshit. This is a prank." That's a bomb.
Yeah.
So yeah, and that happens quite a bit. For everything we film. We filmed a movie called Bad Trip, which was like a narrative prank movie, and probably in the final cut of the movie, we only showed like 15% of what we filmed because that much material is not usable. Yeah. Pranks, it's a lot of trial and error with pranks, a lot of failure. So, and I remember reading like Sacha Baron Cohen saying something like that, like Borat and Bruno. It's only like 10% of what he shot because you're just like only showing the Jackass movies too. It's like they shoot a tremendous amount between like 50 and 100 days of shooting, like a Kubrick movie. And then they only show the best 84 minutes,
I was going to ask you about Bad Trip. So Bad Trip was supposed to premiere at South by Southwest 6 years ago, March 2020.
Yeah, that's right, 2020.
I don't know what happened, but for some reason.
No, I was here.
You were playing the movie, no one was there. You've told the story about how it ended up on Netflix before when it came out. But I think it'd be useful in this setting. Can you talk about its journey to actually be released?
God, it took us 7.5 years to make the movie, maybe 8 years between like the earliest writings to it finally premiering on Netflix. And we kept filming in like fits and starts. We would like we'd write on and off. First of all, I didn't know how to write a movie because I was coming from like this like sketch and variety background of the Eric André Show. So we were writing on and off for a few years. Finally got MGM to say yes. They were like the only company to say yes to it. Then we were shooting on and off for a couple years because we needed to like film a little, edit it, see what we needed. Film a little, edit it, see what we needed. It's not filmed or produced like a traditional movie. And Rel had a show on Fox that came in the middle of that, so we had to wait for his show to come and go. It was a slog. We finally make the movie. We lock the cut. We deliver it to MGM. They submit it to South by. We get like one of the headlining spots at South by 2020. 2 weeks before I'm about to fly out to Austin 2020, COVID hits. And Apple pulls out and Netflix pulls out. And it was just like a domino effect. And I was like, fuck, I've been waiting forever for this thing. And South by would have been the best audience for it. And then, you know, COVID was like, hey, it's only going to be 3 weeks. And then it was like 2 years. So then the movie was nowhere. Then MGM, all the people that worked on the movie got fired or quit. And so the movie was just in limbo. And then all this shady shit was happening where the new president, a new guard at MGM, was trying to just sell the movie to Quibi behind our backs, which I don't know if you guys remember Quibi. Yeah. It lasted for like 3 seconds. You could only watch it on your iPhone. They had to break every movie up into 6 segments, and it had to be an iPhone ratio. And so the only reason we found out they were trying to like slit our baby's throat and get rid of it behind our backs was because Jeff Tremaine, our producing partner, who's co-created Jackass and directs all the Jackass movies, my mentor, he had final cut of the movie in his contract. So they had to go to him and ask him to cut it into 6 Quibi segments so that they could sell it to Quibi at a loss, by the way. They were going to lose money on it. And Jeff was like, what are you talking about, Quibi? What the fuck are you talking about? And my other producer, Dave Bernard, was like, why wouldn't you try to sell it to Netflix right now? And they were like, nah, we tried to sell it to Netflix. They didn't want it. We asked them 3 times. Trust me, they don't want it. Turns out they sent it to the wrong department, and they sent it to a person that started working at Netflix like 10 days before she received the email. And they sent it to Amazon, and it leaked for a day, too. It was a disaster. I was like, what is going on? Finally, thank God, Dave Bernard, he swooped in and he goes, I'm going to email the head of the film department at Netflix, the proper person, the proper department, Stuber. And he loved the movie. He was like, where has this been my whole life? This is amazing. We want it on Netflix. They were clicking their heels. And thank God that was an email for him, because Dave forwarded back to the guys at MGM, and he goes, I know you tried 3 times, I guess 4th time's a charm, because now Netflix wants to buy it at a profit. So they were willing to sell it off at a loss at Quibi, where no one would have seen it, versus making money on it at Netflix, where it was, you know, the #1 movie in the world. It was the #1 movie in the U.S., certified fresh on Rotten Tomatoes, and I think like 40 million people watched it in the first 28 days, something like that.
Yeah.
So thanks. Thank you.
But also part of that.
I didn't make any money off it, but so like we said we don't want to make any money off it. Put all the money in front of the camera, and we'll just have profit participation at the box office. But without a box office, streamers don't have box office. So I made, for working on a movie for 7.5 years, I grossed $60K. So 40% of that goes to taxes and 30% goes to my reps. So I probably had like 19,000. I probably made $19,000 off of 8 years of work for
on
that
the biggest movie in the country.
Yeah.
I ask because I do think that story is a nice portrait of sort of the modern entertainment industry. I was curious, you know, even having worked since, how do you feel? I mean, this part of why the most recent strikes happened was things like this. What do you make of the sort of state of the industry reckoning with streaming and back end and trying to make things in this climate?
I think People will always want entertainment. The mediums will always change and evolve and devolve, but people have a natural need to be entertained, and since the caveman days. So I think it's stupid to ignore the future. Once the genie's out of the bottle, that's it. So I think we'll just have to adapt to new mediums.
So I think of Bad Trip as a sort of masterpiece of the prank genre.
Thank you.
And I thought it'd be interesting to see how a prank happens from, we see the final product and it's like, you're laughing. You're not thinking that like years of work went into it.
Right.
And I'd love to talk about the zoo prank from Bad Trip.
Yeah.
For those who haven't seen the movie.
Pull it up.
We don't have a clip, but can you explain what happens?
We did a prank in the middle of the movie where we like make a pit stop at a zoo. And there is a bunch of unsuspecting, real civilians in this prank scenario, and we're at this like outdoor zoo, and we go up to the gorilla enclosure. We wrote it around the time of Harambe. I don't know if you remember Harambe. There's a kid that fell into the gorilla enclosure, I think at the Cincinnati Zoo or something, and they had to kill the gorilla because gorilla could snap and go violent and kill a kid. So and it was a very controversial thing. Animal rights people were upset. So we were like, what if I fall into the gorilla enclosure, and instead of getting murdered by the gorilla, he butt fucks the shit out of me. So Jeff was like, this prank isn't going to work. We couldn't do it with a real gorilla. Obviously, it's dangerous and impossible to train a gorilla to do that. So we had this very, I would say realistic. I thought it was realistic enough looking gorilla suit, and this like Cirque du Soleil guy that puppeteered it, and this like animatronics team. We got like the top special effects team on it. So I go into I go up to the gorilla enclosure, and I tell my character tells Rel's character like, hey, dude, I'm going to get a selfie with a gorilla. Like, I think it'll be great for Maria, the girl I'm in love with. She loves animals. It'll melt her heart. And he's like, what are you doing? So I like break through the fence. I start taking selfies with the sleeping gorilla. And then the gorilla turns around in a rage, rips my pants down, and starts butt fucking me in front of all these middle-aged black women. And they were shocked. They were like, oh my God. And the gorilla's, he's fucking my face. He's fucking me.
Well, specifically, you leave and then go back because you left your phone
I leave.
there.
I show them the selfie I got. I go back in because, I don't show the selfie. I leave. I realize I left my phone in there, so I got to go back to get the selfie. And they're like, no, why would you go back? The gorilla starts fucking me again. It was pretty ridiculous, but they bought it. Jeff was like, I did not think they would buy it. It was one of the first pranks we filmed, and they bought it, and it was definitely the big.
What was the conversation? So it ends. You're like, you've got whatever you felt you got,
yeah.
And then you have to get these people signed releases. I assume what happens when you call cut or end a sketch?
You have to get release forms, or you can't show their face. So we had our first AD. Joe, who does all the Jackass movies, and he came in with the slate. You guys know what the slate is, like and actually came in with the slate, and he goes, "That shit was crazy, right, y'all?" And the women are like all confused. They're like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, I'm glad we got it all on camera." And they were like, "Oh my God, you got me!" This one lady was like, "I needed my blood pressure medication." Oh, shit. And they were so relieved that a man wasn't brutally butt-fucked by a gorilla that they all signed the releases. I think maybe there was like one or two blurs in the background that we tried to edit around. And we got the releases on that, yeah. There was a guy on Bad Trip that chased me and Rel out with a knife. There was a scene where our penises are stuck in a Chinese finger trap. And we went to this black barbershop in the hood in Atlanta, and we merely politely asked the proprietor of the barbershop for scissors to cut us out of
course.
our penises being stuck together with the realistic looking prosthetic silicone penises that were like stretch and, all of his customers in there. And the guy went into a homicide rage. He was like, oh, hell no, I'm going to kill you. And he told us later, he's like looking for his gun that he usually brings to work for protection. Thank God he forgot his gun at home that day. Mm-hmm. And then he grabbed a knife and he chased. And me and Rel can barely run in this thing. We're joined at the. It's like 2 jock straps, and we're joined at the cock in this fucking contraption. So the guy chases out with a knife and was going to kill us. And then we were like, cut, it's a prank. And something's weird. Like when somebody's so angry, those are weirdly the easiest releases to get. He was so relieved that it was a prank and he didn't have to commit double homicide. He was like, what? Oh, y'all are hilarious. What the fuck? He's like, yeah, you don't want to do that prank in this neighborhood, man. People get shot for way less in this neighborhood. And he was cool. He was like, when's this movie come out? I was like, 7 years from now. He's like, all right, right on.
Do you remember your first intentional prank where I'm going to do this thing to get people to laugh? Regardless if it was film.
Yeah, I was towards the end of college, I realized I wanted to do comedy, so I was shooting hidden camera pranks on these big, bulky VHS-C, consumer camcorders, and I would have my friends hide them in backpacks, and I would crash big auditorium classes at BC, Boston College, which I didn't even go to. I went to Berkeley, like miles away, the jazz school. So we would take the T in Boston all the way to the end of the line and crash these schools that were teaching Western Civ 2, and I would come in Spicoli from Fast Times at Ripjon High with a blaring boombox, and I would order pizza to class and come in on a skateboard and say all this inappropriate shit to the teacher, and the teacher would kick me out of the class, and it was very senior year of college kind of pranks, but that character's name was Chase McDude, and that was kind of the first. I kept asking the teacher, I was like, "Is there going to be a test on this? Is there going to be a test on this? Is there going to be a test on this?" And I'm like, "Where's the cigarette machine, dude? In the teacher's lounge? I got to pick up a pack of Cools, brother, man." And the guy was like, "Get the fuck out of here!" That was a nuisance.
What is your most recent prank? Have you done a prank in the last few years?
I'm sure I have. The last one I remember, I did this one where this guy was outside of a wig shop selling wigs on the street, and he had this little kiosk set up on the street. We're in Newark, New Jersey, out front of a wig store. So I went up to him and I went, "Hey, can I try on one of your wigs?" He's like, "Yeah, no problem." And I'm like, "Can I try some of this lipstick?" He's like, "Oh, okay." "Can I try these huge sunglasses?" He's like, "Yeah, whatever." And he's kind of we're all goofing about it and having a laugh. And then this cop comes up, and he's behind me. And the cop goes, "Have you seen this guy?" And he takes out a wanted poster. He goes, "Yeah, he's wanted for murder. He's running around the neighborhood trying to hide in various disguises." And the guy was like, he's and I went to the guy and went, "Don't you say a fucking word." And then 2 seconds later, we had a mall security guard come up behind the cop and take out a wanted sign. And he goes, "Have you seen this guy? He's impersonating a cop. He's wandering all around the city, but he's wanted for murder." And the guy was and the cop went, "Don't you say a fucking word." And we all joined arms around him and started saying, "Don't you say a fucking word. Don't you say a fucking word." We blew the guy's mind. He was like, "What the fuck?" We ran off. And he was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
You've worked with the Jackass guys. You've talked about, you've developed a relationship with Sacha Baron Cohen. Have you gotten prank advice from other people? Have you learned from other people?
Oh, yeah. From Nathan Fielder and the Impractical Jokers guys.
Oh, yeah?
Sure, even magicians like Penn Jillette has told me some little gags you can do in real time, and yeah.
Can you think of anything? Can you think of any advice in particular?
I remember showing Sacha Baron Cohen. I pranked Alex Jones at the RNC a long time ago, and it was during a Bikers for Trump rally outside in Cleveland. Everybody was armed, and there was biker gangs and neo-Nazis there and stuff. And I was being a nuisance. I asked Alex Jones to fuck my wife and on stage. And they kicked me off the stage, and they were kind of roughhousing me and stuff. And I remember when I showed that to Sacha, he goes, "Oh, never get stabbed because it's bad for production. You'll have to..." He said it very matter-of-factly. He was like, "You got to go to the hospital, and if they hit your kidneys, it takes like so long to repair, and your production, you'll lose your production insurance." And Jeff Tremaine told me the same thing. The guy that does all the Jackass movies. He goes, "Oh, during Bad Trip," he goes, "don't actually get punched in the face." He goes, "because then you'll break your jaw. We'll have to wire your jaw shut. We'll lose our insurance. The guy that punches you can sue because he can claim that you riled him up so much that he had to break your jaw." And I was just like, "Oh, yeah, that's good advice."
What is the worst injury that you've gotten from your comedy?
I punched my hand through a glass window of a car and sliced it all up. And one time, John Cena threw me through a shelf, and he did the stunt properly. It wasn't on him, but the art department forgot to put sandbags on the shelf, and it after I bashed through the scored part, the metallic outline, whatever, the frame of the bookshelf fell over and clocked me in the head, and I had a concussion and a big Fred Flintstone bump, and I had to go to the hospital and do CAT scans and stuff like that stuff.
The worldview of Bad Trip, I think ultimately is that people are ultimately good regardless of appearances. Do you still feel that way?
I think the most working class people are good. I think most of humanity, when I travel all over the world, most people aren't incredibly violent. They're not human trafficking children on a private island. Oh, did you guys just hear about that? Have you guys read the news for the past 10 fucking years? It's a nightmare. People that want to run and control the world typically have a propensity to violence. But I think most people they just want a decent quality of life, and they're not trying to bother anybody, and people are actually pretty sweet and pretty helpful. I don't think humanity would have made it this far if people didn't have a good Samaritan nature. Yeah.
It's been 3 years since the 6th season of the Eric André Show. You said originally you were planning to do 5, then you ended up doing 6, partly because you didn't make any money on Bad Trip, but also why turn down a place? You said that.
God damn right.
But also, why turn down a place where you have creative control? Is there another season on your horizon, even if it's not the next thing?
I don't know if Adult Swim really exists anymore. All the people that worked there when I was doing the show for all those years either quit or got fired, and it kind of disintegrated. So I would love to bring the talk show back, but in a bigger and better formation, and maybe on a different network or on YouTube. So same type of show, but not necessarily the Eric André Show? Yeah, maybe a new evolved form for the next decade of the show. It'd still be my, comedic sensibilities and point of view, but, I was thinking you had not done a season after you turned 40, and I was like, oh, what is the sort of more mature version of the show that's still... I'm just more tired. Yeah, it wouldn't be more mature. There'd be fart jokes aplenty, but... go to bed earlier.
Obviously, it was its own thing, but I think over the last few years, there's been a number of shows that have popped up that I think are either directly influenced or part of a lineage of the show. It's like Adam Freeland Show, ZUA, Chicken Shop Date, I think is a version of it, what Bobby Althought does. And I think even like the idea of Hot Ones feels somewhat an extension of like, what if we tortured celebrities?
Yeah.
What do you think about that and the sort of state of...
I mean, imitation is the highest form of flattery. I'm flattered by that, and I don't know if they're even directly imitating me or, we're all part of the same zeitgeist and we all live in the same world. And I'm just part of, that's because I grew up worshiping Ali G Show and Tom Green Show.
Yeah.
Tom Green especially. Tom Green was before Jackass and Sacha Baron Cohen. He was the first, so... He was the first guy I saw willing to get injured or arrested for the sake of a very stupid comedy sketch, So, Jackass and Tom Green, that's the lineage.
Yeah.
This mic is shaking. Does that mean there's an earthquake coming?
Wondering.
Are you on a tectonic plate here in Austin?
Do we know? Is there an earthquake happening right now? I mean, we're getting no's, but I was noticing it. Also, mine was shaking as well.
I also got the shakes. I got the DTs because I haven't had a drink in like an hour and a half.
I think there's.
Mine is shaking, and the floor was kind of shaking. Or I'm having
still
a
shaking. Mine was shaking as well.
Oh, okay, good.
Let's stop moving. We'll see. Okay, I think we're not. I think we're good.
Yeah, it's fine.
There was a lot of great comedians came through the writing staff of the Eric André Show, and I was thinking even watching Sarah Sherman's most recent stand-up special. Do you see that and go, I'm so proud when she's pooping out of a giant butthole or whatever like that?
I'm very, very proud of Sarah, and I was like in awe of her special. I thought she like kind of broke the genre and the medium into like, and she like brought it into the 21st century. I felt like it was like, I remember being like jealous of her special, being like, oh man, like she not only just like told straight ahead jokes, but she went into this like kind of like filmmaking kind of part at the end with the finale. I thought it was so brilliant. So I'm like very, very proud of her.
As I said, you had a number of comedians write for you. I was curious, what is it like when people think they know your voice but pitch incorrectly? Like, can you remember bad pitches where it's like, oh, I know what you should do. You should like...
Yeah, it's usually like it just lacks nuance, like... It's just like, what if you come in to a restaurant and kick someone in the face? I'm like, I don't want to. That doesn't seem nice. It seems uncivilized.
I'm curious how you approach an interview segment. If you can pick a favorite one of just sort of...
How do I approach what?
The interview segments. I believe you shoot for like 90 minutes, but what do you go in plan for? I mean, I was just thinking of the most recent season, like the Black China episode or like the Little Yachty episode, where you have these bits planned, but you're shooting for 90 minutes. How much do you go in knowing, how do you think about it?
Well, we write like 200 gags. We bring like 200 gags into, I would say we write 500 to 600 gags, and we bring 200 into production. Then we have a giant wall in my office that has every single gag on index cards. And then once the celebs are starting to get booked and fill up, then we assign like 10 to 15 gags per guest, and there's 20 guests a season. So that's kind of how we do it. It's our Wheel of Fortune wall. We're like, all right, Black China, she seems like she would be uncomfortable around explosives. We have a baby alligator that day, so let's put that in there. Let's get the cockroaches that fly. We'll put those in there. We just kind of see, we watch tape on the guests and see their body of work and their interviews and try to kind of guess their temperament for certain things. But you still never know, that's why I do so many gags, and that's why I shoot for 90 minutes to 2 hours, because I want to like throw the whole kitchen sink at them and then pick the best moments.
I've heard you talk about how you have a goal to do a travel show. And I think of South by Southwest as a place with people with a lot of money come. And
you want to get some money tonight, dog?
Well, I'm saying because you said all the networks pass and you might self-produce, and in case you're looking for any financiers, I want to give you an opportunity to pitch the show.
Do you know anybody?
We'll see. I don't know. Does anyone here have
crowd is all venture capitalists?
We don't know. The lights up here are very bright. I don't know how many of these people are venture capitalists.
We blow the lights, everybody's in a tuxedo, dressed like the Monopoly man, top hat, eating foie gras, beluga caviar. Let me adjust my monocle and see your materials on such travel show. Yeah, if you got a rich friend, man, hook it up, dog.
What is the general premise of the show? Or what you would hope for it to be?
My log line is like, Anthony Bourdain meets Jackass meets Hunter S. Thompson meets Dave Attell's Insomniac. That's kind of what I would love to do. A travelogue where I get in trouble.
Can you think of a specific travel experience that influenced that or would capture what that might look like?
Well, I'll tell you a couple things. I'll tell you a couple things I want to do on the show.
Sure.
I want to go to Bolivia, synthesize cocaine from coca leaves, and make the original Coca-Cola recipe, and drink a six-pack of it. There's also a super roofie in Colombia called scopolamine. Its nickname is the devil's breath. It's like people that are trying to mug you, well, they'll blow it in your face and you become catatonic. You completely disassociate. It's like a super ketamine. And you're kind of a zombie and you'll do whatever they say. So I want a bunch of comedians to blow it into my face, and I want to walk around and I want them to have me do embarrassing things in the streets of Colombia. And just like chores, like paint their house. And
Sure.
Go grocery shopping. Yeah, and the original version of it was called Taboo. I wanted to like access the cultures through each country's customs and taboos. So I wanted to go to the ping pong shows in Thailand and learn how to do that with my butthole. Did you want all the answers for this question? Okay.
They're laughing each one.
Okay, good. Well, it's so early in the day. I don't know if I can say butthole this early in the day.
I think we already said it a couple times.
There's some older folks in the audience. I don't know if they're keen to that.
If
but they lived through it.
They lived through it.
They lived through the butthole generation. There was the Dust Bowl generation and the butthole generation.
The two generations.
The only two generations was the Paleolithic era before that.
I'm just generally curious how you think about your career and what projects you take. And you mentioned, you've talked about how you were offered Kieran Culkin's role in A Real Pain. The role that Kieran Culkin won an Oscar for, the Jesse Eisenberg.
I'm aware.
Sure. I know they're aware. So can you talk about why you ultimately said no and how that reflects what you do want to do?
You get scripts like emailed to you all the time, and 90% of the scripts that you read are typically not great. Like I would say 5 to 10% of scripts you're like, oh, wow, a good script, holy cow. And I'm not even talking shit about this script. I thought Eisenberg's script was great. It just seemed like a very depressive movie. It wasn't in my lane or wheelhouse. Maybe that's a good thing sometimes, but I was also preparing for another project. So I was like, do I want to take time away from the project I'm prepping for and do a really depressing movie about my Polish ancestry that died in the concentration camps? It seems like a bit of a bummer. So I was just like, I read it and it was great. And I was like, but it was a lot of work. It was a ton of dialogue. I was on every page. I was on like 110 pages. And I was like, do I want to go to Poland for 2 months and mope about the Holocaust, or do I want to prep this other comedy project I'm working on and Jesse was kind of rushed for an answer because like when you make an offer to an actor, you have to wait for them to say no before you go. You can't reach out to, you're not like protocol. You can't reach out to like 10 actors and whoever jumps first. Because then if 3 people say yes, then you're kind of in this awkward position. So he was kind of like, I'm not going to say rushing me, but he was like, he wanted an answer kind of right away. So if he needed to move on, he could move on because needed to get the movie made. So I didn't want to hold up his process. And I just didn't think that I would like do that well of a performance in this like dramatic role. I'm down to do a dramatic role, but this specific thing, I was like, I don't know if I'm going to bring to the I'm going to knock it out the park. And it seems like such a depressing and upsetting subject matter. And also I had this other project and I just wanted to focus my mental energy on another project. It wasn't even that deep. It's only deep in hindsight because then he offered it to Kieran Culkin and Kieran Culkin won an Oscar. And the kicker is, and then Jesse Eisenberg, Poland granted him EU citizenship. And I've been trying to get dual citizenship since Trump got in the White House in 2016. I've been trying to find my escape country. So I was like, I could have walked away with an EU passport and an Oscar. Those are the 2 things I need the most, man. So it's a real kick in the crotch. And I emailed Jesse after the movie came out and it got all the awards. And I emailed him, remind me to always say yes to you no matter what you email me. And he was just like, trying to tell you, brother. He doesn't talk like that. That'd be cool if he talked like that. I'm Jesse Eisenberg, trying to tell you, brother. It's like he talks like Tracy Morgan or something.
In terms of the next movie, I believe this year you'll have I Love Booster's Little Brother, which is a movie you're in with John Cena. You're in the Street Fighter movie. Why were those projects you were like, I want to be involved in?
I Love Boosters, easy to sell. I love Boots Riley. Boots is like, I got a small part for you. He's the best. So I was like, Boots, I want to be in anything and everything you direct forever. Just let me know. And it was a real casual. He just texted me. He's like, you're going to do this? And I was like, yes, I'm in, whatever you need. And then Street Fighter, I grew up playing. It was one of my favorite childhood video games. And then one of my best friends directed it, who's Kitao Sakurai, who like basically co-created the Eric André Show with. So, his son is my godson. So like, he's like one of my closest friends. So to shoot Street Fighter in Australia with Kitao, and I knew Kitao would let me do whatever I wanted creatively, that was a no-brainer too. The movie with John Cena was written specifically for me. I'm the lead of the movie. It's called Little Brother. I am the little brother. I'm the titular character in the movie. So that's kind of like the biggest opportunity I've had in my career. And I love working with Cena and my good friend, producer Dave Burnett, who did. He's producing White Lotus right now. He's abroad doing White Lotus, but he did Jury Duty and he produced Bad Trip. Yeah. He saved Bad Trip's life. He's the one that emailed it to the right people at Netflix. So he came up with the story for Little Brother based on one of his friends. So it was written completely for me. So those are very easy yeses. And then the other movie I got coming out this year is Balls Up with Pete Fairley directing and Mark Wahlberg and Paul Walter Hauser. And I just grew up on Dumb and Dumber and Something About Mary. I just can't say no. But Pete is like Boots Riley. It's like there's some directors like no matter what, you're just like, yes.
In general, as you look at all the different things that you've done, like, do you feel like there's an overall, like, Eric André project? Do you have, like, a goal of, like, I'm trying to have a career in which I'm doing X, big picture?
Yeah, it's I want to make more bad trips, not a direct sequel, but I want to make more hidden camera narrative films, and I want to make that travelogue, and I want to make another talk show, and I want to make love to you on this stage. No, backstage. I'm not an animal. And I'm making a rum. I'm starting a rum company. I love rum. I'm obsessed with rum. I just went all over the Caribbean and went to all these rum distilleries. And I just like hate the stigma of celebrity liquors. They're just like typically so bad and have all this crap and additives in it. And the celebrity doesn't know a goddamn thing about the liquor they're hawking. I actually like have like a deep, profound love and obsession with rum. And I could go toe to toe with any rum head. And it's like a passion project.
Now it's time for the final segment, which is like a lightning round, but it doesn't actually have to be fast answers. It's just sort of at the end, so we call it that. Do you have a short story of an interaction with a legendary artist, comedian, musician, actor, director, living or dead, you're willing to share with us?
I'm sure I do, but let me tell you a story about Morrissey. That's not even my story.
Sure.
Because I think it's way funnier than anything I could come up with about myself. Friend of a friend saw Morrissey at a bar. This is like 20 years ago, maybe. And I guess Morrissey was having a drink. I don't know if he drinks still or ever drank, or maybe he's, I don't know, non-alcoholic drink. So Morrissey's at the bar having a drink, and this was in Hollywood. So my friend's shocked. He's seeing Morrissey and like right in front of his eyes. So he goes up to Morrissey and he goes, "Hey, sorry to interrupt. I know you're with your friends. I just wanted to tell you how much your music means to me, how important it is. I love the Smiths. I love your solo work. Your music has changed my life, and I just wanted to show my deep, deep appreciation for your entire body of work." And Morrissey turned around and went, "Get the fuck away from me." It's like, he's like such a dick that I was like, that's actually a way better story. Like, if he was just like, "Thank you, man," like boring, like the fact that he was like, "Get the fuck away from me," like, especially after the guy was just so sincere about how much he loved him. Oh shit, that's not my story, but it'll never be told because it's just like a friend of a friend who's just like a rando drunk dude.
Do you have
what was the question?
Well, do you have a short story of an interaction you had with a legendary person?
Yeah, Alejandro Jodorowsky, who directed The Holy Mountain. I went to his apartment and he read my tarot and he gave me a psychomagic prescription before we started Bad Trip. It was fucking amazing. And he's like 99 years old and he's like the most eccentric man of all time. And there's this performance artist, visual artist, Paul McCarthy, not McCartney, McCarthy, who I'm obsessed with. And he looks like a dirty, homeless Santa Claus. He's older as well. And I think he's one of the greatest artists of the late 20th century and early 21st century. And he was making these like poop paintings. And we figure he's just using brown paint. And we were like, what do you use? What's the material you use for the shit paintings you're making? And he goes, "It's shit." And we were like, "Oh, fuck." Shit.
Do you have a favorite day ever on set? Any type of set? Prank, acting? You could just visit.
I think Jackass, because although it was terrifying, it was like I grew up watching it, so it was like Make-A-Wish Foundation without the cancer. I was like happy as I was like, this is so fucking cool being on this set with these guys. I'm scared out of my mind, but holy shit, that was like a total dream come true.
Do you have a joke, bit, or prank that you thought was funny that either bombed or your people said won't work, that you'll go to your grave and like, "I was right, they're wrong, this is a great idea"?
I had a joke like that for a while, but I wasn't right. They were right. The audience is always right. If the audience is not laughing, the joke does not work. And only your ego will say, "I had this joke, it's not going to work. You want to hear the joke?"
Yeah, sure.
Oh, fucking, it's dumb and it's bad. And it never worked. It kind of worked once and it never worked. And I was like, I'm sick of all these ghosts around town haunting my apartment and shit. They're like, "I have unfinished business. I have unfinished business." Well, you should have finished it while you were fucking alive, pal. That's me lecturing a ghost.
That's it.
It doesn't work.
Just a
But
small one-act play.
I think the premise of lecturing a ghost that's harassing you, it's like, dude, you procrastinated, then you died, and it's my burden? Like, go fuck yourself. I'm sorry, I'm in your house, you're dead, you no longer live there. I resent ghosts.
That's right. Last one. Do you have another bombing story you'd like to share?
Oh, man. I mean, I've had so many panic attacks on television, and I remember I auditioned for 30 Rock and the first season of 30 Rock. This is years ago, maybe 20 years ago. And the audition was at 30 Rockefeller Plaza, where SNL and The Tonight Show are filmed. Mm-hmm. And I walked in and I looked at the casting director. I go, man, it's funny. What a coincidence that I'm auditioning for 30 Rock at 30 Rockefeller Plaza. She goes, that's not a coincidence. And I was like, I'm not getting this job, am I?
Thank you so much, Eric André.
Yeah, thank you.
Have a great festival.
Thank you.